Recently I got asked the question, how do you play Jinx against assassins? And as someone who isn't necessarily the best Jinx player, so I don't know what the best advice I could give you is, I know I can maybe give some advice about what I tend to do against assassins, besides want to, roll over and die, which we can't do that. That's not going to win you the game. One of the first and main things to realize just about playing against anything that kind of counters your champion directly is you probably want to look at why that counters your champion, of course, because let's say you play Tryndamere top lane. You probably need to know what counters Tryndamere top lane and what he wants to do to be able to succeed on him. On top of that, let's say you want to play Vi in the jungle. What kind of enemy junglers, if they invade on you, can fight you and make it very difficult to do your job? Jinx, when it comes to assassins, is kind of the same thing. One of the major things that comes up first and foremost, without any other advice, is the fact that she's immobile. So they're going to want to jump you, dive you, and destroy you, especially if you don't have any peel. So one of the first things you could probably do is always watch your positioning. And one of the items that I think can help with your positioning is actually looking at the triple crit build that Jinx tends to do, but kind of switching the order a little bit. I kind of like when it comes to a lot of assassins, especially on the enemy team, going rapid fire cannon first. Now yes, you're going to miss out on what Hurricanes brings early, but if you want to survive assassins, one of the things you can do with this positioning is outrange them, and rapid fire cannon can help with that. As such, it's not that you don't build Hurricanes later, maybe you just swap Hurricanes at rapid fire cannon. Personally, what I like to do though with that third item, if it's really a lot of assassins that are problematic, is actually go into a GA. Maybe not even necessarily complete it, but at least build the stopwatch and sit on the stopwatch component for the GA early on, even if it may be on the first or second back after you get your BF sword. Because let's be real, if you're going against a Zed mid or a Talon mid or something, when they hit level 6, they want to come down and kill you. That's specifically what they want to do. They probably don't want to go all in on the enemy opponent. They probably don't want to roam and try and find your jungler somewhere out in their jungle and kill them. They're probably coming bot lane after you. So if you can get that stopwatch, especially, and just sit on it even if you don't use it, but even if you do use it, just, build that into a GA later, that's going to be helpful, because a lot of the AD assassins, especially if they're not building enough lethality, GA now also has a BF sword in it, so you'll still get damage from that, and you'll also get armor from that as well to kind of negate some of their lethality. But furthermore, like I said, I'm not saying don't go triple crit, but one of the things I tend to do against assassins specifically, if they're also a huge problem for me, is my second zeal item might actually be a Phantom Dancer instead of a Runon's Hurricane. Because most likely if you're going against one or more assassins on the enemy team, they're not grouping. So it's not that Runon's Hurricane can't be useful, of course, but most likely the enemy team comp isn't grouped up enough to really take advantage of what Runon's Hurricane is going to do. I'm not saying don't do it, I'm just saying what I personally do and what I've done that succeeded, in case what you try to do, hasn't worked and you're looking for something new to try. I'd go Phantom Dancer then, because on the off chance that they do get my GA, and I'm still alive for some reason, I come back to life and they're still sitting there waiting to try and maybe finish me off, Phantom Dancer does give you some dueling potential to potentially turn it around on them. Especially the later the game goes, the more crit and AD you will have, you will start melting these assassins if they're not any kind of tanky whatsoever, or not Rengar, who can apparently heal his whole health bar, whatever the heck that guy does. I don't want to talk about Rengar. Rengar is interesting. So that being said, as a last item, I probably would go a lifesteal item like a Bloodthirster, because in those scenarios, you got your GA popped, you're coming back to life, you have Phantom Dancer, and then let's say you have Bloodthirster, you also have another Zeal item, you also have Infinity Edge, you have 100% crit chance, and you have lifesteal. If they try and duel you, you possibly can survive and turn it around on them at that point if they isolate you. Because one of the things about assassin metas is that you're probably not going to have a lot of peel and protection on your team. But maybe you're like me, in which case last season, I always seem to be first pick, either red or blue side, and so it's I can't wait to see what the enemy team's picking and pick something else, and I can't try and pick Jinx after I see what the enemy team's picking. It's just pick Jinx now or possibly don't play Jinx. So in those scenarios, one of the things to note is that you probably won't have a lot of peel, so you gotta look at your build as a way to give you a bit more peel, of course. Also think about taking the Resolve Tree secondary if you really don't think you're gonna get that much use out of Sorcery, because you're gonna die too often to make use of that secondary tree. And then finally, one thing to note is if it is an assassin meta and you're playing against a lot of assassins, you might be also playing with a lot of assassins. There's a chance the enemy team will focus on the enemy assassins before you and give you time to get some DPS down before they go after you. Potentially, maybe not always, but that's probably it. So real quick rundown. A, look at your positioning, and as such, maybe build a rapid fire cannon early of the 2 Zeal items before the Runon's Hurricane, or a Phantom Dancer if you want a bit more dueling potential when you get dove. When it comes to the build, it switches up a little bit for me personally. I tend to build things like Phantom Dancer, a lifesteal item, and GA, even at the cost of not having triple crit, because I just want to survive. So if it's AP assassin, Maul my Mortius, And finally, if you have assassins on your team, hopefully they just get dove first before you get dove, and that's so you have more time to DPS. Still make use of the rapid fire cannon then to be as far back as possible, and hopefully that helps you play Jinx into assassins at least somewhat well. Maybe it doesn't, but maybe if you've been doing the normal, you do triple crit and stuff and it's just not working, you're frustrated, maybe some of the things I've said in this video and the items I talked about in this might help you out if you switch some things up. So that's all for this video. Thank you so much for watching this video if you did. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe as well, but I don't know which video will be next, because life can have a lot of kinks. So until next time, take care. GG, get jinxed. Thank you for watching. Enjoy pizza responsibly.